over the world to entertain you on a giant screen with the few colorful motion pictures you've been hearing about and reading
It's
about.
showtime, folks. Enjoy the show.
We're delighted to have you with us. They're driving theater.
You'll find something to please you to add to your evening's enjoyment.
Is pleased to bring you our feature presentation.
Good evening, everybody. It is 8 o'clock. It is Monday night, February 12th, 2024. You are tuned in to the Drive-In Speaker Box Live. I'm your host, Bo, the Boom Operator.
I'm the Grip.
And we've got another show for you tonight. We're back. We're back in the studio, just like we promised we would be. And just like I promised last night, I went and saw Lisa Frankenstein for you, and we're going to talk about that on the show tonight, as well as a recap of, can we say the Super B, or do we have to call it the big game? Like, I know that there's that whole thing because, like, the Super B is trademarked. I mean, we can say it, right? We could say Super Bowl, but that was this weekend, the Sunday big game. A lot of movie trailers dropped. A lot of just commercialism happened. We could talk a little bit about that. Did you watch any of those trailers?
I did, yeah. I am not a foosball fan, and I don't have cable, so I was perusing YouTube, and YouTube's like, did you see these trailers that came out an hour ago? So I watched a whole bunch of those. In fact, that was half of my news here. Since
I mean, you know, the one I think everybody was talking about was Deadpool. Deadpool and Wolverine, as the name is been officially titled. I'm not sure how I feel about this trailer because I feel like it's really trying to maybe do another reset of the Marvel Cinematic Universe again, and they're like, oh, how do we do this?
I mean, it is 100%. The whole thing is it's Loki, but with Deadpool, right? Because it's the same dudes from Loki that come and get a hold of him. Is that right?
Yes.
I don't know. I don't MCU.
That's what they said in the thing that I wrote, because I don't watch Loki either.
I did also see an article though where with that kind of reveal and leading up to it, a lot of people were expecting that there was going to be previous Fox heroes, Fantastic Four, X-Men, things of the such there in it. Michael Chiklis was asked if he is in this movie because someone had edited a photo to where it had him on set, and he goes, no, that's not me, that's a fake photo.
You can't believe any photos anymore.
As much as I would love to be there, it's not me. But one thing about that, since they show Captain America and Iron Man and all the Avengers and stuff like that on the TVs for Deadpool, is they could have the both of the Chris Evans. They could have Human Torch and Captain America Chris Evans, and that would be pretty cool.
Thanks to the power of computers.
Yeah, and that's probably an easy thing for Ryan Reynolds to make jokes about and all that. So
well, and the one thing that I don't know if, and I think why it works for Deadpool, if you've ever read a Deadpool comic, he's one of the only characters in Marvel Comics that breaks the fourth wall and is aware that he's in a comic and can talk to the audience, you know?
At times.
He doesn't do it all the time, but you know, he's one of the few characters that will do that. And so, you know, like in the trailer, he called himself Marvel Jesus, and you know, he, you know, mentioned Disney and all this kind of stuff. And, you know, makes it very meta, but I feel like, you know, maybe they're leaning into the fact that he can do that, which is, you know, what we say all the time, where it is kind of a cop-out for some of these movies where they're like, well, if we just say that it's stupid, or we just say, you know, so-and-so, then it makes it okay if it sucks, you know, if we say it first.
Yeah, one of those things, we said it, so you can't. I do agree with Velvet Santa here in our comments saying bring David Hasselhoff back as Nick Fury. That is, I liked that movie a lot as a kid, but I was a big Nick Fury fan when I was a kid. Something about dudes with like eye patches and cigars.
Like Snake Plissken.
Snake Plissken, Nick Fury, Wolverine, like all of these characters.
Hannibal from A-Team.
Captain Ron.
Eye patch, though. Captain Ron.
Yeah.
Yeah, Captain Ron had an eye patch. Who else? Who else is like a eye patchy badass? Like,
Yagyu Jubei Mitsuyoshi,
of
Shako
course.
Dune. Just everyone that's cool. So yeah, dude, I would be all about that. Nick Fury coming back. Another thing that wasn't a pirate fandom. Another thing that wasn't a movie trailer, but was something of a movie that we've been teased about for quite a long time. Velvet Santa mentioned the State Farm commercial. We got a little bit of a twins thing there.
A little bit of Arnold.
Yeah, Arnold and Danny DeVito. So that was cool.
The Twins 3 project has been like a weird thing for years. I mean, we've talked about this on the Driving Speaker Box like back in 2016 or something. And the triplet was supposed to be Eddie Murphy.
Yeah. I'm okay with triplets being on hold as long as I get Conan the King. Please give me Conan the King.
I mean, before he dies, let's get it.
Well, and before continuing on with the other trailers that came out, something in Arnold-related kind of news is it was recently announced that there's going to be 2 new Predator movies coming out soon.
Get to the theater.
Yeah.
Do it.
Hollywood Reporter reported that there's a new Predator, Badlands, that's supposed to be put into production before the end of the year. It's going to be a standalone Predator movie, expected to have another female lead and most likely be set in the future. But I
just want like Danny Glover's character's daughter.
Yeah, something like that might be cool.
Let me have some of that. She's like a New York cop that followed in the footsteps of her dad.
Also, at the same time, I like it when Predator doesn't have direct sequels like Predator and Predator 2 and then AVP and stuff like that not being related at all. But it's done by Dan Trachtenberg, who's the same dude that did Prey, the Hulu what the hell is that thing Yautja nonsense movie that exists. And Prey 2 has also been announced. It will occur after Badlands. So Prey 2's been announced, but it'll happen afterward. They are talking to Amber Midthunder, the girl in Prey, about being in a sequel. And that goes again to, I don't like the idea of a direct Predator sequel since it wasn't established with Arnold or Danny Glover, which was way much of a better story for either of them to continue
and
on.
Set it up for more of a. It didn't telegraph a sequel, but made a sequel. And
because why would the Yautja come back and hunt the same thing that they just got bested by? That kind of defeats like the whole
game respect game thing.
Yeah, honor of the Yautja stuff. So for them to be like, so this dude couldn't kill this little girl, but maybe you can. And there's like some 10-foot tall Yautja that's like 200 years old, and it's been murdering the most like insidious beast on the weirdest, craziest planets across the galaxy. But then some like teenage girl with a rock just kicks his butt. No, it's the dumbest premise on the face of the planet already. Don't continue that story because Yautja aren't going to do that. I hate that. But continuing on with the trailers that came out, there was a Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes trailer, another
one, yeah. I mean,
which also made me hate everything about this movie.
Yeah, it's strange. The Planet of the Apes deal is thanks for all the cheers. We got a hype train going over on Twitch for those of you guys that follow us on Twitch. A lot of fun there. You can always get on the Twitch pre-show and get 30 minutes of extra drive-in speaker box activity. But yeah, thanks for the bits and the cheers. But the Predator thing, it's interesting because it is one of the few characters that can, you can have sequels and never need to repeat any same characters if you don't want to. So, yeah. What else?
Well, so on the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes thing.
Yeah, we were talking about that. Sorry.
Yeah.
I got distracted by Twitch stuff.
It's fine. The new trailer shows that there is an ape who is trying to help humans And of course, this human has blue eyes because there always has to be a bright eyes for some reason.
Oh yeah.
Right? Because like Caesar had the bright eyes in the prequels, and now that we're in the other prequels, there has to be another human that has bright eyes, like old what's his name?
That no one likes anymore.
Old NRA dude.
Yeah, I mean,
Actor guy. I'll remember later. But
Charlton Heston.
Yeah, thank you. But him wanting to help a human and then being turned into a criminal in this ape society, it's like, how many times can you do this story, really? Because this is
clearly a lot.
This is between the end of the prequel trilogy, which set up like the future for apes, and like the beginning of the Planet of the Apes, like proper. But how often are you going to have these apes that help people? It's like, come on, man. I don't.
I think it's just because they don't know how to tell many more stories in this world.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a rehash of Planet of the Apes, and I don't need that. I generally really like Planet of the Apes, no matter how dumb the movies got, like in the 70s. Yeah. So that's kind of a bummer to see that they are not doing anything new with it, because the prequels were really good. I really liked the prequels.
The ones that came out not too long ago?
Yeah, Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, they
and
weren't
all
bad.
That stuff.
They weren't bad at all.
I really liked those movies. So this new trailer kind of let me down, and that's a bummer. But I do have talking orangutans, and that's fun for me. So I'll probably watch it just to see. And then there was.
Be like you, want to talk like you.
Yeah, dude, King Louis is the coolest, man.
Yeah.
Before I get to another trailer, Night Owlsley says, speaking of daughters, what about the daughter in Commando? Proud of her for escaping. Alyssa Milano was cool in Commando. She wasn't just like a screaming character to the side that Arnold always had to like deal with. It was like
she was John Matrix's daughter, dude. Like, of course, she was out there chopping wood.
Yeah, she was taken by force.
Bullshit.
Yeah, the Commando's good, especially big rocket launchers, and drives that like blazer down the hill.
The one that said I'd kill you last. I lied.
Awesome. Yeah, that's rad. Just speaking of guys that fall out of the Fall Guy trailer.
Oh yeah,
did you see that one?
I did. I've seen
another
a few
trailer
of them.
for that one. Yeah, they released a new one for that, where you get a little bit more of what this movie is, which is
a rom-com.
Mayhem, just absolute.
It looks fun. I mean, it's a rom-com, which I know just goes against a lot of just synapses in my brain, but you know, if you're gonna make a rom-com, then Ryan Gosling right now is your man. He's the man, and it looks fun. I mean, it looks, you know, it's a movie about movies.
It looks like a lot is going on.
Well, it's a movie about movies, you know, and stuntmen and stuff behind the scenes. I like behind the scenes style movies. So, and as James just said on Facebook, the Hollywood meta, and those can be fun to a point. Sometimes you get so meta in Hollywood meta movies where it feels like they're making a movie. They're making these movies not for audiences, you know.
Well, there's that movie that Charlie Day made recently where he's that dude that can't talk and doesn't know who he is, and he becomes. It's all a behind the scenes Hollywood movie.
The more that I go back and I think about that movie, the less I liked that movie. I saw it in the theater.
I did too.
Yeah, we reviewed it here on the show. And, I don't know. There was something about it, like going back and thinking more and more about it. I'm like, this is a very non-memorable movie.
That's true. But, I mean, it's that look at Hollywood.
Charlie Day's great.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then there was another trailer for Wicked.
So, okay. Yes.
They
Wicked
just
trailer.
announced the wrap on filming on that. So they got that trailer together
Fast.
quick.
Because
I think last week I said that they had announced the end of filming.
I have very mixed feelings about Wicked because my feelings go against my general default feelings to musicals on film. But I feel like this one's gonna work because Wicked is a fantastic piece of work. Like it's really good. And it does something really good in a genre of things that I feel like everybody tries to copy what Wicked did well and does it so poorly. And we talk about this show talk about this on the show a lot where you know, when when sort of the gender flipping and the let's tell the woman's side of the story, or let's tell the underprivileged, minorities side of the story, or let's see what wheelchair guy has to think about everything, and they do it in such a way that feels cheap and feels pandery and feels like you're really just using this marginalized people to sell more tickets. Wicked did it so well, and it's fun. If you've ever read the book or seen the Broadway performance, I've seen the Broadway performance. It's fucking great, and I think that this actually would translate to screen if they use the songs from the musical. Do not deviate. Don't give me a glub or whatever the hell I saw in Wonka, and just
scrub.
Just I think it's going to make a ton of money. I think if they just stick to the material, and it's like, this is something that needs to have movie magic attached to it. Let's make it movie magic and keep every bit of the content intact that made Wicked so good. I think it's going to be a huge hit.
So, as someone who's never read a book or watched the play about this at all, the trailer looks like a bunch of dumb nonsense.
Well, it is.
There's
so much going on.
Way too much color and way too much going on and way too many.
But you have to understand what's happening. You're in Oz, right? So
I
Oz
get it.
Already is too much color.
I get it.
It's Technicolor throw up.
What is Singer Girl supposed to be Glinda?
So it's about all the wicked witches, the
the good witch
witches.
and the good witch and the bad witch.
Mm-hmm. And you kind of like when they try to do Maleficent, and
right.
you're like, oh well, actually she's
she's a misunderstood anti-hero.
She got burned by a guy, and every man in the kingdom is a horrible person, so let's kill them all. And
right. Seeing the wizard presented as top tier doucher man.
Well, he is, and always has been.
He's a butthole, but I don't know that he's top tier doucher man.
No, the wizard's always been a fucking charlatan and a hack and a liar and a cheat and a scoundrel. And he's a snake oil salesman.
Yeah, but the trailer had, just for me, the trailer had way too much going on, and the weird trains coming at me, and I don't know.
So I think the trailer is going to be I think they probably did what they do in a lot of these things, where they put all of the insanity in there to be like, look at how crazy this is gonna be, and because they didn't put any songs in it,
No, there's a little bit of singing,
just
but at least this one, it's going to be a musical, unlike the sneaky musicals that they've been doing.
But I think it should be good. I think it'll be all right. I think that of all the musicals that I've never wanted to see in a theater, I'd go see this one. Just because I know that the musical itself is actually pretty good.
Maybe it's good. I don't know, but
we'll see. I wouldn't see Chicago. I don't want to see that. I've seen that on stage. I don't need to see a movie about it. Greatest Showman. I don't need to see that. I'd see it on stage.
It has Hugh Jackman, bro.
But I don't want to see it. Les Mis is one of the rare ones. Les Mis is good. It's even better on stage. I don't know.
Yeah,
musicals, man.
But there was too much. I think.
Timbo Zippy says, wait, Deadpool's a musical? We did talk about the Deadpool Wolverine trailer right at the beginning. That was the one that started all this. What was there? Was there another trailer that my brain is just forgetting?
Twisters.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, with your boy.
I already forgot. Yeah.
With your boy, Glenn Powell, man. Your newest up-and-comer favorite actor in the world.
Not a fan. This movie, I think, is so unnecessary. And they even reference the little pod deal. They're like, oh, you had the technology. So I'm guessing it's Bill Paxton's daughter or something. And
I didn't pick up on anything like that in the trailer where it's where it has to have a connection to the previous characters. Yeah. That's one cool thing about real world stuff and tornadoes. You don't have to attach it to the previous characters.
No one
cares. There's tornadoes all over the place.
No one cares.
It can be completely unique characters, which is what I hope it is.
Just about some storm chasers. Yeah. There's more of them. They happen all the time.
It didn't look bad.
That truck with the drills that go into the ground, though, that looked badass.
It did look really cool.
We gonna ride this puppy.
Even though it had the giant advertisement in the trailer of Ram electric truck.
Yeah. but that's a good idea. Like just some augers that go down and hold that truck down into place.
There was some cool stuff,
that
man.
was kind of cool.
The whole thing, like, it's twins. It's twins. Like, I kind of got tickled at some, like, how ridiculous the trailer was. But out of all of those
Hurricane
trailers,
heist.
Yeah. Show yourselves. It's twins. Out of all those trailers, at least that one was, like, the most, like, I kind of want to see that out of them.
That's the one you want to see the most?
Wicked was too many colors, and Planet of the Apes ruined it by being something that I've seen. Fall Guy had way too much going on, where I was like, I am confused. What is this? And then Deadpool, I already knew everything there.
Yeah.
Like, it's exactly...
It's going to be more of the same.
what I expected, except they're like, there's more Marvel than what you thought there would be. I was like, oh, cool. That's not what I wanted. So out of all of them, the Twisters one is like, this one might be okay to go watch and have fun.
Bunch of rednecks, like, in the rain.
Because Deadpool's going to be a lot of talking to me and a lot of Marvel stuff that I don't know.
Was that a quote from Blade Runner? Like, forgotten like rednecks in the rain.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. That's what he says on the roof for sure.
Rutger Hauer just looking into your soul.
Yeah. You know what? Talking about things that we don't need, there's going to be a remake of a Kurosawa movie that's been announced. Yeah, it's
just watch the Kurosawa. What it didn't even. I don't even have to know what it is to know that the Kurosawa one.
You don't need to do it. Yeah, so they're remaking High and Low. Which was a Toshiro Mifune starring Kurosawa, which was always the best ones.
Dude.
You know, and it's going to be Denzel Washington and Spike Lee. And it's going to be a modern reimagining. Don't need it. Don't want it. You don't remake Toshiro Mifune. You don't remake Kurosawa.
Although if you were going to... Denzel Washington could maybe be like an urban Toshiro Mifune.
Okay.
I mean,
I'm not upset about that because The Equalizer is sick.
That's what I was about to say. Like,
but Spike Lee,
where he just kind of limps in, and he's like, "I'm gonna kick all your asses."
Yeah,
and you could leave now. Yeah.
But Spike Lee is directing and writing.
Wait, Poochie Vince on Twitch just said Spike did Old Boy and won it. Did he direct the American Old Boy?
That nobody watched.
No way.
Because you don't need to do that.
Was that Spike Lee? No, that was not Spike Lee. That can't have... Oh, my God, it was Spike Lee.
Well, there you go.
No, Spike, no. That movie was so bad.
Yeah. The last time that Denzel Washington and Spike Lee teamed up was Inside Man with Clive Owens and Jodie Foster and stuff. Isn't that like the last time that anyone watched like the like Clive Owens stuff? Wasn't that the downslide of the Clive Owens movies? Was after doing like that?
Yes. I'm still hung up on the Spike Lee old. So yeah, you know this is going to be terrible because if Spike Lee wants to remake another like Asian classic, he did such a bad job trying to remake Old Boy. Like such a bad job. The only thing he got right was the Josh Brolin hallway ass kicking scene, which still wasn't as good as the original. So yeah.
Well, so, yeah, there you go. That's going to be a thing, which, yeah, like I said, Denzel Washington doing Equalizer stuff. He's a great actor. Anyhow, what we were talking about Book of Eli, like, the other day, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean...
And there's a prequel coming out to that or something.
But just the idea of Spike writing and directing that, but taking a Kurosawa movie, which we're both massive fans of Kurosawa
it's
stuff.
Kurosawa, man.
Yeah. So I don't know how that's going to turn out. Also things that no one needs. You see that The Rock was talking to Entertainment Tonight, and not only is there going to be the Moana live action not long, it's 6 or 7 years after the movie first came out, but also there's a Moana 2 animated sequel. So there's going to be a sequel to Moana that's supposed to release this year that they just were like, oh, by the way, this is a thing. But also they're filming the live action that's going to come out next year. So getting a whole bunch of Moana. Yep.
Moana.
And then also things that you can't have. Coyote versus Acme.
That guy.
Not gonna happen.
It's too bad.
After public outcry of being like, you can't just film movies and then get rid of them for your tax write-offs. WB
I was like, sure, watch us.
Yeah, they're like, okay, cool. Well, we'll sell it to someone. They asked for 75 to 80 million and would not accept counter offers or hear debate on it. So no one came to the table with that money to purchase this movie from them. So they just said, screw it. We're never releasing this movie. And apparently,
how do we hack into this like database that has the Batgirl movie, this movie, like all these movies that they're probably just going to sit on it for a really long time and then be like, from the trash can vaults.
Yeah. Apparently, some of the executives of Warner Brothers got up and walked out of this thing, or like just decided not to finish watching it. So it might be terrible, but
amazing.
Yeah. Which you know what? Something else. There was a interview with Brian Henson, Jim Henson's kid, with comicbook.com. They asked him about Labyrinth 2, and he said that they're still excited about it, but he can't talk about it. So there's potential out there for a Labyrinth sequel, but I don't know how you're going to do that without Jareth, unless you just say that Jareth can change forms and cast someone else on it. And then the last bit of news that I had really is that coming up in May, they announced that there's going to be a Phantom Menace 25th anniversary. I think it's
a re-release,
May 3rd. Yeah, just right around the same time as May the 4th. Be with you type stuff. So episode 1 coming back to the theaters.
All right on.
It could be cool to see pod racing on the big screen. So.
Now that's pod racing. Well, speaking of coming into theaters, it's about that time we need to tell you what's coming in theaters this week. A lot of stuff coming out in theaters this week because Wednesday we're getting some early releases because it's Valentine's Day on Wednesday. Big popular date activity is going to the movies. So we are getting 2 really big releases coming out a day early. We're getting Madam Web. I'm so happy that this movie's coming out because if I see this trailer one more time in the theater, I'm going to smash my head against the wall until I die. Madam Web, it's Dakota Johnson, Sydney Sweeney, Isabella Merced. It's a extremely tertiary character from Spider-Man comics trying to tie in all of these other Spider-Women characters in Spider-Man comics with another bad guy that also looks like Spider-Man, Ezekiel Sims, and it's just all of these spidery looking people. And Madam Web is a character that was like kind of a fortune teller old lady in Spider-Man comics. I even did my research and was like, she's only been in a few comics, but they're like, let's more spiders.
When she showed up is when the animated series fell apart.
I cannot wait to never hear about this movie again. The trailers look so bad. This movie looks so bad. I just don't know. I mean, I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to milk every bit of Spider because Spider is what's selling for them right now, Just Spider everything. And yuck. Let's see here. What else coming out in theaters this week? The movie that I'm going to try and see.
This is the one that I'm glad I won't have to see the trailer for anymore.
The Bob Marley One Love.
Yeah.
This is from director Ronaldo Marcus Green. It is starring Kingsley Ben-Adir as, of course, Bob Marley, and it is the story of Bob Marley, kind of became Bob Marley. A very interesting story. I don't know if you don't already know much about the guy. He lived a pretty incredible life and did a lot of incredible things, and had some pretty awesome music that he made along the way.
You like reggae?
I do, man.
I can't stand it, bro.
It makes me think of Monkey Island. Just like,
okay.
And it just makes you chill out. I won't say I like a lot of. I love steel drums. Like when I was in high school, I loved steel drums, and and Bob Marley's got some really freaking great songs, and they just No
Like
Woman,
what?
No Woman, No Cry. Like that one's so good. Buffalo Soldier is so good. Don't worry. There's everything's gonna be all right, man. I mean, there's some good ones. Now what his kids and stuff, like I don't, but the man, cool dude. So yeah, it's that's coming out on Valentine's Day. But you fast forward to February 16th, which is this weekend. There's going to be a couple of additional movies coming out. There's going to be Land of Bad that looks kind of like it's going to be a lot of bad. It's starring Russell Crowe and Liam Hemsworth and Luke Hemsworth, the Hemsworth brothers. Gunnar Wright's in there for whatever reason. It looks very gun commando-y. It just doesn't look great, but it's apparently only in theaters. I don't think it's going to get a long one, but yeah, it looks
Be cool.
Joe action movie that's coming out, as well as Bleeding Love, which is probably only going to get in super limited release. It is from director Emma Vestenberg. It is starring Ewan McGregor and Clara McGregor. They are it's about a father taking his estranged daughter on a road trip to kind of get her out of some trouble. Along the way, they meet all types of strangers, and their strained relationship is put to the test. Kind of a coming of age father-daughter thing. It did really well in the film festival circuit, and I think getting a theatrical treatment this week. That's about it. Everything else is coming out very limited release. Adam the First with David Duchovny is probably not coming out in any theaters near you, but there you have it. A lot of stuff hitting theaters this week for both Valentine's Day and this coming weekend. So there we go. With that said, we should probably get into. Well, you said you saw something on Netflix, right?
Oh,
what did
yeah.
you see? You want to give us a little quick one of those?
I watched the new documentary, The Greatest Day in Pop. The story of how they did, or The Greatest Night in Pop. It's the story of how they did We Are the World. It's not bad. It's cool to hear like the little behind the scenes stories from Huey Lewis and Lionel Richie, but it's something that could have definitely occupied the span of 10 minutes instead of like an hour and a half or whatever it is. It's excessively long with no real reason for it to be, but it's still an interesting story. It's kind of cool how they figured out the logistics of that night, deciding to record the same night as the American Music Awards so that everyone was all together in one place instead of trying to get everyone's tour schedules to where they could come in and sing and stuff. And it was cool hearing like the origins of it with Lionel Richie and Michael Jackson being the two that wrote the entire thing. And then kind of got everyone else on board with it, and how Prince was just too cool to show up and do it. He's like, I'll come if I can play a guitar solo in a different room away from everyone. And they're like, no, this is like a everyone's one type of thing. And Prince is like, forget it, and just like didn't show. But it's not bad. It's interesting, but it's definitely hard to maintain your attention because it is lengthy just to be lengthy, and you feel like they're trying to squeeze as much out of it as they can to get that runtime. But it could have been like a 10-minute, 15-minute YouTube video and been just as informative as it was being an hour and a half or whatever, so. But it's out there. I put it on the background while I was cleaning after I missed my opportunity to go see Lisa Frankenstein because I looked at the clock 1 minute and it was 9, and then in the next minute it was 10:45, and I'd missed my showing opportunity. So it was something in the background, and it's not bad, but it's not anything that you really need to sit and pay attention to either. So perfect for Netflix.
Well, right on. It's out on Netflix. You can check it out. But what's not out on Netflix that I'm going to talk about is the new Lisa Frankenstein, which is currently in theaters right now.
Top 10 movies to vacuum to. Yeah,
oh, yeah.
It's absolutely for sure. Hey, which that was in the news. Pacific Rim The first one is in the top 10 movies globally on Netflix because it just got added in.
What?
And I'm sure it's a movie that people are putting on in the background just so that they can have the music. The music from Pacific Rim.
It's pretty good.
Is pretty cool. And of course, you get a couple of cool Idris Elba tidbits. But
I mean, Idris Elba's always a good seasoning.
it's
to
definitely
sprinkle in a movie.
a vacuum movie.
Did we haven't talked about the Knuckles limited series? Well, because Idris Elba was
No.
Knuckles in Sonic
we
and
haven't.
or Sonic 2, but they're doing I can't remember what streaming service on, but it's like a 6 or 7 episode thing about Knuckles.
Paramount, because Knuckles is in the commercial where Patrick Stewart throws Hey Arnold right
Gotcha.
into the mountain face.
Okay. Well, Lisa Frankenstein in theaters right now. It is the new film from writer Diablo Cody, directed by Zelda Williams, which we told you about last week. This is Zelda Williams' directorial debut. And Diablo Cody, this movie supposedly takes place within the universe of Jennifer's Body, right?
What?
So, I mean, probably just because there's like monsters and parallel
Curses are real.
and so this movie, it's interesting because this movie's not for everybody. This movie is definitely a love letter to a lot of 80s movies of the same genre. And it does a lot of those things well, but not great. And what it does well, it exceeds well at. One of the things that this movie does is it's very 80s, right? And I guess I don't know if they were trying to make this a trope or not, but they cast a dude that's like 32 and a girl that's 27 as like 16 and 18-year-olds or whatever. But that's pretty 80s movie. But the whole overly goth cheerleader thing, all of these coming of age story tropes, even casting I'm trying to remember this guy's name, the guy that plays the dad, but Joe Trest. He is I think he was in Stranger Things as well, as like the same character, the boring dad, with the glasses. He just looks like 80s dad. He and the rest of this cast paint this really Technicolor 80s. Who's the guy that did Drive? The director.
Oh crap!
That guy. Very, very his style. And this movie is really it's a romantic comedy, of course. It's about coming of age, but it's also kind of a movie, the classic trope of the friend zone. You get friend zoned really hard and you spend all this time, the boy spends all his time with this girl and she never really sees him as anything more than just a homie until the very end, and oh, this is my soulmate. And what happens is this girl, Lisa Frankenstein, her name is not Frankenstein, it's Lisa Swallows. Her mom was brutally axe murdered, and so she moves to another school. Her dad remarries, and she's kind of an outcast, right? And she's weird and she's awkward, and she visits the cemetery quite a bit. And there's this one tombstone that has the really handsome sculpture, and she kind of hangs out next to it. She gets drugged at a house party she was brought to, and
So the same story as Jennifer's Body.
yes, and everything goes bad, and she stumbles her way back to the graveyard and says, "I wish that I were with you," right? And this crazy storm happens, lightning strikes in the cemetery, and this guy comes to life, right? And he makes his way to her. He can't speak. He's just this zombie. And at first they're really scared, but as she discovers that he's the same person, she's like, oh, wow, and he lives in her closet, and she's got crushes on boys and is blah, 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 blah. And she figures out how to slowly use this malfunctioning tanning bed to kind of, heal and repair him. They cut off an ear and sew it on because she works at a tailor shop, and then she puts him in the tanning bed and electrocutes him, and the ear works, but he also gets more and more tan, and he starts to look more and more human. This movie is really difficult to talk about out loud, but what I'm getting at is it's charming in a way, and it deals with a lot of interesting things that are about growing up, about relationships, about, you know, just the awkwardness of high school and young love and all of this kind of stuff. But what it also does pretty interestingly is it takes kind of a both sides approach, because a lot of movies nowadays are like, you know, it's all, you know, women are bad, or all boys are, you know, trash, and men are all bad. And it kind of gives everybody equal representation of like, we're all people, relationships are messy, everybody has, you know, the capability of making good and bad decisions. And how do you move forward in those, and in a way that's like comedic and funny, and there's murder, and someone gets his dick chopped off and he sews it on to the zombie so they can have sex, and that's a real scene, and they did it tastefully somehow, and it just this movie is just it's entertainment, right? It's not super deep, it's not, I would definitely say, not one of Diablo Cody's best. You know, this is definitely not Tully.
She's definitely expecting Juno awards on this.
Right. And I mean, I feel like Juno was lightning in a bottle for her, because it was her first movie she wrote back in 2007, you know, and again, Jennifer's Body just came out of nowhere in 2009 and everybody loved it. But then since then, she hasn't really had a big hit again. She's kind of been coasting off those two. And if you think about it, they're like almost 20 years old. Like, you know, it's been a minute since she's had a really great one. But the visual style, the pacing, all fun. You know, if you like 80s movies, which clearly Robin Williams' daughter was super in love with 80s movies, you get a lot of that out of this, and it's just kind of a fun watch. But it's not deep. It's not doing anything you haven't seen before, except for maybe that dick sewn on thing. That was kind of interesting. But yeah, I mean, you're going to see a lot of the same tropes that you'd see in 80s movies, all piled into one. And what's that zombie movie where the zombie falls in love with
the one with Nicholas Hoult?
Yes.
Warm Bodies.
Warm Bodies. A lot of Warm Bodies vibes coming off of this one. Yeah. So I mean, if you're into dark comedy, you're gonna like this movie. If you're into 80s neon and big hair and, you know, new wave, you'll like this one.
It's like Warm Bodies and E.T. and My Boyfriend's Back, all
rolled into one.
With just a sprinkle of Jennifer's Body story.
Just right in there, yeah. So it's fun. You can check it out. It's in theaters this week. I think that'd be a fun Valentine's Day choice. It's, of all the movies that are kind of coming out for Valentine's week, this is the romance one, which is kind of odd.
Well, there's that re-release of that one that's been out with old Glenn Powell, the Australia destination, anyone but you.
Mm-hmm.
It has like a special release that's out right now.
Gross.
Yeah. So, you know.
Why would you do that?
Yeah, just cause.
Okay, well, there you go. That is what's playing in theaters. And we've talked about what's coming out next week in theaters. So you now know you're equipped for this week of going on, you know, cliche dates, and you know, go to the movies all the time. Don't wait till Valentine's to go see a movie. Go see these movies any chance you get. Oh, one thing I was going to mention, the guy that plays the monster, the zombie, Cole Sprouse, they made him look so much like Johnny Depp, like 80s Johnny Depp. It was not even funny. Like
Edward Scissorhands?
Well, just like the 80s Johnny Depp, like a little bit of Edward Scissorhands, a little bit of you know, he was in Nightmare on Elm Street, you know, those that 80s heartthrob Johnny Depp. He definitely has those vibes. But all right. Well, there you go. I guess it's about time where we do the box office roundup. Yeah. And is it just about that time?
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing that I did want to mention before we jump into the box office roundup, because it's not in the top 10, but it is interesting. The numbers that I've got are saying, I saw somewhere a number that said 1.3 million since it's reopened. So I don't know how accurate that is, but Dune, the re-release of the original Dune in theaters this week.
Well, not the original. This was
Are you
the
sure?
This was the 2020, 2021 Dune.
Because I looked on my local listings and I saw the original Dune.
There was an anniversary of original Dune that came out recently. It was a Fathom event thing.
Okay.
But this was the re-release of...
Because that freaked me out when I saw that. I was like, that made $1 million?
No, this was the re-release of the most recent Dune to get people prepped for Dune 2.
That makes more sense.
Yep. Yeah.
So they released both Dunes in theaters, so that's where I got really confused.
Yep.
So anyway, well, Dune Part 1 did pretty well in the theaters. Didn't make it in the top 10.
Yeah,
but
and it's 40th anniversary, 18th and 19th. So coming up this weekend then.
well, I saw it, and maybe they're playing it early at our AMC or used the wrong thumbnail.
Yeah, probably that, because this was a reissue of the most recent one with
Let me see if I can find that shit.
all the people that are currently famous people. No Sting or
Sting.
Patrick Stewart or
Here, hang on.
who else is in original Dune?
Was Marlon Brando in that? Was he the,
Is
is
he
he
the
the emperor?
is he the governor, dude? The Arrakis.
Okay, yeah,
governor
they
guy?
changed. They had to change it because I'm looking at my app and I was looking at this right here the other day when I was at Lisa Frankenstein, and that showed the old Dune.
Yeah,
and-
they use the wrong one because it's the 21 reissue.
Gotcha.
Kyle MacLachlan, yeah. So, but that one's coming up. If you want to see a greased up Sting in the deserts of Arrakis,
All right. Well,
and get the popcorn tub so you can get your
yeah, there's definitely some
get nude behind Shai
Spice.
Halud.
get
Yeah.
spicy.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, yeah. Let's start off with number 10. We work our way up to number 1. Jake tells you what made money and what didn't, and we do this so you can follow the money and predict what movies are going to look like in the future. So go for it.
Yeah. One thing real quick, though. Don't let the moisture leave your body if you're getting that Dune popcorn bucket. That's the no-no on Arrakis. You can't let the moisture leave. So coming in at number 10, dropping from the 9 spot, Poor Things, which you talked about recently.
Yep. 2 episodes back.
$1.111 million brought in by that one in its 10th week out, bringing in $30.2 million for its total. Now, one thing I forgot in the news, this weekend was the worst Super Bowl paired up weekend that the theaters have ever seen.
Yep.
It was like $41 to $42 million total from Friday to Sunday across all movies in the United States. So none of these numbers are going to be particularly impressive.
No.
Coming in at number 9, American Fiction. $1.28 million brought in by that one, 17.3, and it's 9 weeks out. Both of those have been out quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the number 8 spot, dipping down 2, Mean Girls, the musical. For some people, the secret musical. Just under $2 million brought in by that one, 69.18 million, and it's 5 weeks out. It's nearly made $100 million across the world. I don't see how, but that one's out there for people that want that musical fix. And then holding strong at number 7, Anyone But You, $2.65 million, and actually added another 186 theaters, Valentine's, for that one. $80 million, and it's 8 weeks out. Sleeper hit right there. It was about to fade off the board, and then it just got a boost out of nowhere, and it just stayed in there. And then steep drop from number 2, but not surprising. At the number 6 spot, The Chosen Season 4, Episodes 1 through 3, presented as a film, $2.8 million, 12.2, and it's 2 weeks out from Fathom Events. Again, that one is crowdfunded. It's paid for with no money to worry about making back on that. So that 12.2 is all profits, and good for them. And then holding at the number 5 spot, Migration. Just under $3 million brought in by that one. One of the lowest dips on the list, 110 million brought in here in the U.S. and $235.5 million brought in worldwide. Not so bad for an animated movie that also looked like it was about to migrate off the top 10 in its initial release.
Flew right under the radar.
And another one holding its spot, number 4, Wonka. $3 million brought in by it, and it's 9 weeks out. Wow, it feels like it's been out longer. $205 million in the U.S. alone, $587 million across the world.
So much money for that movie.
Yeah, big hit, which unfortunately means we're probably going to get more of that nonsense.
Oh, yeah.
And then another one holding its spot, Beekeeper, $3.4 million brought in by it, 5 weeks out from MGM, $54.6 million, 133 across the globe.
It's done better overseas than here, so
yeah, that one got new movies and probably sequels greenlit for Statham pretty quickly. And then opening at the number 2 spot, $3.7 million brought in by Lisa Frankenstein that you just talked to us about.
Just talked about it.
Yeah, how about that? And then holding the top spot despite negative reviews, $6.25 million for Argyle in its second week, $28.5 million total in the U.S., just under $60 million across the globe. They got a long ways to go on that one.
Yep, not doing what they thought, I think. So, but there you go. That's your top 10 movies here in the U.S., and that's our show, man. We're gonna be coming back next Monday, seeing some more movies.
I gotta figure out which of these is
worth our time.
Yeah, I guess you were into the idea of the Bob Marley movie, but
I'm gonna try the Bob Marley.
I'll look and see if there's a foreign film worth watching.
But yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow us wherever it is you like to follow us: Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, what have you. And you can always on Twitch join in early for the Twitch pre-show. A lot of fun stuff goes on there, about 30 minutes early before showtime. And if you want to stick around and join our Discord. Our Discord links are generally in the chat or on our profile pages. You can jump in there, and our Twitch mod Vince is going to be hosting a movie night, a little watch along that's fun. You can get in the chat, watch a movie. It'll be a good time. So I don't want to reveal. I think it was in the chat of what movie they're going to be watching. I guess I can say it.
Well, I mean, or you could just say San Dimas High School Football Rules.
San Dimas High School Football Rules.
Or you can say Party On, dudes.
Be excellent to each other.
Yeah. You can say
Party On, dudes.
Wild Stallions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all right, guys. We'll see you guys next week. I'm Bo, the boom operator.
I'm the Grip.
And this is the Driving Speaker Box.
As you leave the theater, folks, please be careful. Don't let this happen to your car. Be sure to remove the speaker before you leave. If you should accidentally pull a speaker loose, please turn it in at our snack bar or box office. Thank you.